Happy Valentine's Day. Alright, so I figured this year I'll take a look at the original My Bloody Valentine from 1981. This is the first time I've ever seen this film. I've seen the remake many a times. I went to the theater to see the remake. And so watching this, I gotta tell ya, I do like the characters in this film. I'll say that much. There's more characters that we follow than in the remake. I'm not gonna try to compare the two because I gotta do a whole nother video doing that. Wink, wink. But there's more characters that you follow here, and they are a little more likable. However, I feel like the story is very... Okay, so it's a little background. After Halloween came out, in the wake of Halloween, there were all these holiday-themed slashers. Everyone wanted to do, Friday the 13th, Mother's Day, April Fool's Day, I don't know, no, Black Christmas came out before that, but, and so this was one of them. 1991, 3 years after Halloween, My Bloody Valentine. And so they try to put a bit of backstory in this, which, okay, so but it's told as sort of a folklore tale. Harry Warden and a bunch of miners are in this, in the mines, and and there was a couple of guys forgot to check before they decided to take off because everybody was taking too long, I guess. The methane blew and caused a cave-in. It took them 6 weeks or months, one of the two, to get in there. And when they did, they found that Harry Warden was the only survivor, that he had eaten everybody in there. So he was sent to a mental hospital, and 1 year later, he got out, and he killed the 2 guys responsible for it, and said that if anyone ever has a Valentine's Day dance, he would come back and kill again. And so now we follow 20 years later with these characters, and you got TJ Hanniger and Axel Palmer, and they are in this love triangle with Sarah, and it's not done very well. They bring it up every once in a while, and you're just like, okay, we get it. You used to date TJ, and now you're with Axel, and nobody cares because there's no effort put into this. You just mentioned, hey, I used to date you, but now she's... Like, I think the first time they mentioned it, Sarah used to date you, but now she's dating Axel. How do you feel about that, TJ? Because he left town and he came back. And that's that. We do have a sheriff character who's not played by Tom Atkins, but I still like this character, Sheriff Newby. He is doing the investigation, trying to figure out what's going on with Harry Warden. He calls a mental hospital. They say they don't have a Harry Warden there, but he's trying to figure out what happened. Although the delivery at the end, we'll get to that. We'll get to the ending, because the ending is where it kind of just veers out of nowhere. I enjoyed the characters in this film. I liked Hollis the best. Big old mustache guy, got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Fat guy like myself. I liked Hollis. I think he was kind of funny. And I also liked Howard, who was played by the dad from the end of Final Destination 2. He was the Brian's dad. And I think he was in one other movie I've seen. But I recognized him right away. I like those guys, and they're not even the main characters. The main characters, to me, I liked Sarah. She was the mom from Strange Days at Lake Halsey High. TJ and Axel aren't really on screen that much to get to know who they are. That's one of my problems. They're other than TJ used to date Sarah, but now she's dating Axel because TJ left. One, that kind of... I'll get to it in my other video, but it kind of makes Sarah seem like a slut, so to speak. Like, oh, my boyfriend's gone, I'm going to go with the next available guy, which happens to be Axel. Where in the remake, it's totally different. We'll get to that. But, yeah. So, the kills are decent, but for me, they're few and far between. You get a couple kills in the backstory. You get 2 kills at the beginning of this film. The dryer one, and there's one other one with the girl, and she gets stabbed in the heart with the pickaxe. And those are good. And but then there's like a lull where you don't see a kill until the guy gets killed with the hot dog and the girl gets killed in the hot dog water or whatever. And those are all right. And then again, you got this lull, and I really don't remember. There's these 2 who go off to make out. I don't remember if we ever see them actually get killed until Hollis finds their bodies. And then it's just like, oh, they're dead. Okay? But did we ever... Am I missing something? Did they ever show them? I'm watching I think it's the theatrical version. Because I watched it on Pluto TV, so I'm assuming it's the theatrical version, not the uncut, unrated version. But it just seems like... And then Hollis dies, which... There goes my favorite character of the film, and now my interest is gone. Because I don't care about any more characters. I don't care. TJ and Axel and Sarah, they're the only ones going. And I'm going to do this right now. I knew who the killer was going in this because I've seen the remake and heard enough about the original. I knew that Axel was the killer. But how it's handled... So, Axel and TJ decide to go down to help the others. And during this, they separate, and then the killer shows up, starts killing people. And then they get reacquainted, and then they start climbing up this thing, but Patty gets scared because she's afraid of heights, which I can... That she ends up dead anyway. And then there's this... Where they try to go another way, because they think... They go down... They're going to try to go another way, and Axel supposedly drowns in a 60-foot drop with this liquid and stuff. But then he shows up as the killer later. So it's like, oh, they wanted you to think Axel was dead. But if that was the end of Axel, that's a pretty lame death, don't you think? Just drowning off screen? I'm just saying. And the reveal of Axel as the killer is done horribly. Like, they're in this little... area where they're fighting, they're going back and forth, he's breaking some stuff, and then TJ is fighting, and he gets knocked down, fighting Harry, and he gets knocked down, and Sarah just like grabs the mask and pulls it off, and then you see Axel, and then you get a brief flashback showing that his father was one of the 2 guys killed 20 years earlier, and that's why he's doing this. And then you get a throwaway line from the sheriff when he and a bunch of other law enforcement show up. When TJ says, it's not Harry Warden, he goes, no, the hospital got back to us. Harry Warden died 5 years ago. It's Axel. And then Axel survives and starts singing this weird song. And I think his arm gets cut off. It's all very hokey. Very early 80s slasher hokiness. All in all, I'd say, I will say for this one, the characters had, like, the interactions of the characters were decent, but none of the main characters. I liked Hollis and Howard and those bunch of people that were, connecting and drinking and smoking and having fun. But when he goes to the main characters, all they care about is that they both want to date Sarah. That's the only thing they try to push in with the main characters, is that Sarah used to date one of them, now she's dating the other one. Even in the end, when they know Axel's the killer, and they think that Axel might still be alive, even though she goes running back. I have to see. Bitch, he killed everybody. And you want to see if he's still... I get love isn't that easy to go away, but come on. Come on. So all in all, I'd say that the original My Bloody Valentine from 1981 is going to come in at a 4. It's okay, but not something I'd watch all the time. I strongly prefer the remake. That spoils my video, but I will be back. I'm going to rewatch the remake right now after I end this video, and I'll be back for a original versus remake especial video for you. So until then, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. See you in the next one.